All right, welcome everybody. This is the weekly live stream that we do. This co-stream is on Brian White's Future Ozza channel, as well as Nick Gibbs Investing Against the Grain. This is a fun show. We've got lots to cover. If you think you already know and you're caught up with everything that's happened in the last 24 hours, you might be surprised. So first, most of us know that Tesla started with the very first Robotaxi was spotted in Austin with a driverless kind of a vehicle. But now there's a second video. Elon then came out and talked about June 22nd and June 28th. So we'll cover all that. Welcome, Brian, and welcome, Nick.
What a fun treat. What a nice gift for us to get on a quiet Tuesday. I feel bad for all of the queue who now have to get out there and move the goalpost yet again.
Move the goalpost.
They're getting their steps in, so I guess it counts.
Yeah. We got Yashu Sharma joining us. And I asked him specifically because Elon Musk reposted his post. I'm going to get to that right now. So let's get going here. So you've got, first of all, new video. This was of last night of another second video of a Robotaxi spotted, this time at nighttime. Let's watch this. Turn down the music here. So you're going to see this. This is as we watch these, it's going to be kind of cool to see this come up, this one, and eventually they'll be so commonplace, nobody will care. Yeah. What do you guys think about the look of it? I mean, the Robotaxi, I first of all, I don't like that logo, and I think it's weird that it's just on, the side, but who cares?
I don't have an opinion on the logo. I think it's fine. I think it's sufficiently subtle. I don't know if you want to draw too much attention to the vehicles, making them all gold, for example, when there's only 10 of them and they would be a good target. Because pretty soon, I mean, you reach a point where, it's easy to give the one finger salute to Cybertrucks because they are sufficiently recognizable and rare. But if you tried that with Model Ys, you're going to have a tough time keeping up.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some more information here, and then we'll take this out. Okay, so Elon posted this late last night. He said, Austin is much better than LA for Robotaxi launch, LOL. He's probably referring to the Waymo cars that were set on fire with a riot, maybe other things. Owen Sparks asked him the question, when do first public rides start? We're all drooling over that. One tiny clip from today, LOL. And he said this, tentatively June 22nd. So June 22nd could be the date when they start doing public rides. We're being super paranoid about safety, so the date could shift. First Tesla that drives itself from factory end of line all the way to a customer house is June 28th. Again, all of this is tentative, but boy, he finally gave us two big dates, June 22nd and June 28th. Yashu, you said this, you don't get it. It's one car today, 10 by next week, million by next year. Tesla didn't just solve robotaxis for a unique fleet. They solved it for the entire hardware stack. Elon liked you so much, he reposted it. He likes to repost you.
I don't know why.
He loves you. Actually, you've been involved in all the big, like you were part of the shareholder thing and Elon talking about AI ownership. You're the guy.
I don't know. I think I live in a simulation. I hope everyone's doing well.
What'd you think about yesterday's events?
Yeah, well, interesting times. First, I think obviously it's just one car for now, for sure. Like, people are, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and, 10 next week, million next year. That's still what I think their goal is. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, it's an historic moment. Like, how many years have we been talking, all of us together for, FSD, it's progressing, V11's here, V12's here, huge stack, like the merging of the highway and the city. Like, we've gone through everything to get to a point where we've hoped to one day talk about a real live, in the wild FSD ride. To be fair, that's not fully here yet because it's employees, internal beta only. But it is live in terms of working, but it's not like we have a Farzad giving us a review in one yet. But that could very well happen by the end of this month. So I just think it's a good time to pause and reflect on how far of a journey this has been. Mind you, some of us probably on this panel thought this might have happened way back ago, maybe even last year. But that's fine. I mean, FSD is such a transformational technology that, a year or 2, 3-4 years here or there is not the end of the world if Tesla can do what they're doing, which is solving it at a software AI level, and then they can replicate that across all of their devices, aka cars. So just a huge week overall. Like it's hard to overstate it.
Yeah. Thoughts, Nick?
Let me be selfish real quick. Herbert, this time last week, do you remember how someone said it would play out exactly the way it played out?
Let me set you up, dude. I've been saying this the last few days, and I completely I should have mentioned right off the bat. So last week when we did this live stream, at the end of the show, I think you left already, Brian. I love it when somebody says, in this case, Nick says, I have a theory. Nick said, I have a theory. Love it. What's your theory, Nick? And he said, I believe that Robotaxi is already happening now. That they didn't make a big deal out of it, that there are cars already driving around, maybe 10, but that no one has yet caught it on video. Nobody's caught in video. At any time, we might see it. And not only did that video eventually drop, right? So they have been doing it, but also one of the Tesla AI team members posted, she said, like something like, I was wondering when social media will finally pick this up. So she's basically confirming that this has already been happening. So it could have very well, I think, Nick, you were saying, they could have very well launched this on June 1st. Now, of course, we're all celebrating June 10th, but it could have already been happening. It's just nobody caught it. Yeah, Nick, you are hitting out of the park in the sense that you've made a number of predictions that have turned out to be right. So I love it when anybody says, I have a theory.
Well, let's just hope my leaps turn out right. Yeah, no, this is exciting, guys. This is just a monumental day. It's or week, month, whatever you want to call it. And it's, I keep stressing this, that we've gone through all these. I think like the next big issue for Tesla is going to be this quarterly earnings in July. But it seems like, as I already see Brian squints, but we've clearly moved past the quarterly numbers, right? Tesla's been given okay, we get it. This is not the main story. It's this for quite some time now. I would say for almost 4 straight quarters. And this is the first time where Elon and team are going to be able to come on, talk about the narrative and the dream. And for the first time, you're not going to be able to have someone being like, yeah, okay, boy who cried wolf. It's going to be like, oh, we have something to sink our teeth into. Okay, how much do you think you're going to ramp up? When are you going to ramp this up? How many have you had so far? How many drivers? Like, we're actually going to get real world data rather than a story. And I think that's a really big deal. And I know it's not the sexiest thing to talk about, but to me, it's like, that's everything right now. That's paradigm shifting. This will be the first time we have a quarter where it's not just tell me the story of what the future will be. It's going to be like, no, it's happening. You can go test it now. It's real. It's launched. No more storytelling.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I don't think the analysts are going to be too quick to announce what they're thinking in terms of valuation. But now they know it's time to actually look at it and start thinking about it. And of course, the range of it is going to be insane. It's going to be all over the place, anywhere from some might assign a negative value because they're spending all this money. They're not generating money. They're adding new liability. And then, of course, you'll see the Cathie Wood type valuations that put it much, much higher than that. And the reality could be somewhere in between or even higher than Cathie. We don't know yet. But at least we've got a starting point. And yeah, the question will be, how much is it scaling? I was telling Herbert earlier, we don't know what Waymo's ratio of cars to drivers is. That would be valuable information for analysts to know, but it's for some reason unknowable. It is not 1-to-1. We know because cars get stranded and sometimes take minutes for a supervisor to come in and address it. And maybe they're reviewing the footage during that time. We just don't know. But it is all starting to happen. And I'm just excited to see these guys so aggressively moving their goalposts. It's very, very interesting times.
I might fly to Austin on June 22nd, and I know he said that these date might still slip and so forth. But boy, this idea that the public will be able to hail a robotaxi, I'd like to be one of those first people.
Yeah. Well, you were also at the Robotaxi event, so I guess you probably should get an in. And everyone recognized you there, I heard too. So,
Yeah.
one thing I want to say about Brian, you make a good point. And I said this on my video this morning. The analysts on Wall Street that had their head in the sand about this ever happening, and the majority of them do not model for this, right? Are going to spend the next few days and over the weekend coming up with some sort of model to talk to their clients with. There's a few analysts that like Morgan Stanley is funny. I mean, Adam Jonas, at one point 3 years ago, he projected out an eVTOL business for Tesla and what that could mean. But, he talks about robotaxis like whatever, right? So it's going to be interesting. I think in the early next week, we'll get a slew of upgrades is my guess for Tesla. Just for the sheer fact that it's additive to Tesla's current business. So if over the weekend, everything goes well, we start to see more and more of these videos come out, you just can't be a credible analyst anymore and not have a portion of Tesla's business, even if it's $10, associated to Robotaxi. And so what I think the strategic play here is, if you're an analyst, you don't want to be the one analyst that doesn't have it in a week's time. Like, you need to be cutting edge and show your clients that you're up to date and you know what's going on with the businesses that you follow. So there's this degree of like, you don't want to be the last analyst. So there's going to be kind of a flurry coming up. And then on top of that, you don't want to be the analyst that gets it the most wrong. And I think if you've been proven wrong already where you didn't model any of this business out, it'd be it'd just be a bad look if now you try to put out a note and it associated a small Austin 12 beta test group for the next year on Tesla or something ridiculously low. So I think there's going to be kind of a tsunami of upgrades, I think, in the next few weeks.
You think so? What I'm worried about is that they will do upgrades, but what they will do, I'm trying to remember that I can see this guy's face right now, the analyst, where they will say, yes, we believe in Robotaxi, but it's not till 2040, and there'll be lots of competitors, and it'll be a small market share. So yes, Tesla will do this, but
Yeah, are you talking about Gary Black?
No. There's another. No. There's another guy.
Yeah, but look, I think it's just not a credible. It's not a credible perspective to have, considering what you've already seen, which is robotaxis in the wild in Austin. I think very well it could happen, Herbert, but I just don't think it's something that, on a safe face, that you can show publicly as a business perspective on Tesla.
It's Tom Narayan of RBC Capital. Says, I'm a bull. I'm a Tesla bull. I believe in Robotaxi. And you're going, okay, this is great. We finally got the guy. And then what's your price target? And why is it so low? Because 2040 competitors. And I'm like, okay.
2040. Well, I would say that I don't think we're going to see upgrades immediately. I think we might see them in the next month or two, depending how the rollout goes. Because these guys are very slow to move. They're very slow, and they typically only look in the rearview mirror, which is why they miss every serious bend in the road. That gives retail investors a potential advantage, potential disadvantage. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Actually, I have a question for you guys. So before you move on to this, so in Tesla's production delivery report, which will come out soon, when they talk about sales, and these we know are Tesla-owned fleet cars, right? And there's only a dozen or whatever. There might be less than a dozen right now. Are these going to be considered sold and delivered? Or are these going to be considered a new line item in the production deliveries report under Tesla-owned and operated Robotaxi? That's an interesting thing I was thinking about this morning. Was in a few weeks we'll find that out, and maybe it's just regular, delivery and deliveries to Tesla, and they don't even denote that. But I feel like they might.
That's interesting, because I would think they would fall into the same category as service loaners, as the cars they use around the facility for security. So I don't know. I think it would count as production, but not delivery.
Yeah, this could be this huge, production, but no, the delivery's fallen by 10%. Wow, Tesla's in trouble. They're not counting.
They've got a year of inventory. No, that's
they're
not
using it now. Yeah. So this was another post that I missed sharing yesterday. That Elon said the streets will change very rapidly. Autonomous cars will be very common throughout the world in 2 to 3 years. So when this launches, he gave the June 22nd date. So of course we have these articles being written now. But I wanted to point out something on the second page of this is that there is going to be protests. This obviously we know about this guy, right? Dan O'Dowd, who's been very rich, very funding, these anti-Tesla, fake videos of Tesla's killing fake kids and so forth, because he's the CEO of a competing software that is basically dying at this point because no car company needs to buy his software anymore. So he's got this thing called the Dawn Project, which is a partnership with anti-Musk activists, including Tesla Takedown and Resist Austin. They're going to plan to host a demonstration on June 12th, a protest on June 12th in downtown Austin, show off safety issues with Tesla's electric vehicles. And so what do you guys think about that? This is obviously a very careful time for Tesla, the brand. This is being rolled out, and is the consumers going to go out there and think, oh my God, this is so dangerous? Or this is nothing burger.
Well, I think he's embarrassing to his alma mater, which I'm pretty sure is Ringling Brothers. But no, Clown College is still college. It's got college right in the name. No, he's jealous. He's bitter. He told Tesla early on, use my software in your cars. Everyone does. And they said, I think we're going to go it on our own. And he said, boy, if you do that, you are going to fail. I promise you. And when they didn't fail on their own, he decided, let's make it happen. I mean, let's get artificial and put some weight on the scales. It's never worked out well for Dan. You've seen the demonstrations of him forcing autopilot or FSD to mow down implausibly small, very unlifelike mannequins. It is a weird obsession. He needs to let it go, but I guess he's going to donate a whole bunch more money to newspapers and anyone who will take it to listen to him. In the meantime, he has what I can only call resting Dan face. He always looks angry. And I think that anger comes from inside of him. And I think it's eating him alive. And I think it's not eating him quick enough.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a bad rich guy. Like he's doing it wrong. Like there's so many different things he could be doing. I don't know why he's wasting his time on this. Even if it puts him out of business long term, like what's he really care? Like he's done. He's won the money game. Like go do something else. Go do something additive to the world.
But it's revenge. He wants revenge. How dare you slight me? I said you would fail, and I will do everything in my power to make sure it's true. And he could be very, very rich, but he's not the richest. That's for sure.
I mean, at any point, these guys can jump in front of the car. They can try to make it cause accidents. And, the good news is that everything is being videotaped, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like no matter what you do to try and get a headline, you're going to lose if you try to do something malicious because we're going to see it. Like you're not going to be able to hide it. So it's, people can go for it and do it, but the data will be released very quickly. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why Tesla has it more incognito, right? It's that little logo on the side. It's not like a Waymo. Like it's not really like what you were saying with like the Cybertruck earlier. I think that's probably the strategic move, right? I think we all agree that we've seen idiots with burning down Waymos and all these protests, like just stupidness going on. So yeah, I definitely don't put it past that being a media. I mean, the media probably already has it drafted, right? Like Tesla Robotaxi gets lit on fire amidst protests of anti-billion. Like it's already written up. It's just they're waiting to publish it. So yeah, it's probably going to happen. But like you guys were talking about, Model Ys are dime a dozen everywhere that you go. If you have it pretty incognito, someone's looking out for it, and they're going to get into the car. They'll see it, but everyone else might not.
So I was just gonna ask real quick, like Brian, Yashu, Herbert, you guys are kind of in the Tesla community, right? Do you guys know if anyone? That was a joke, everybody. Do you guys
I
know
like
if thank you. If anyone's thinking or planning on getting a drone and following the Robotaxi around, just I mean,
Not
I feel
yet.
like
Yeah.
that's hot content that would be consumed by everyone.
Yeah. Well, we know that Josh is physically there right now, right? And we know JC Christopher drove all the way from Houston to Austin, and they're going around. We know Farzad is out there. They're looking for this at this point.
Yeah. A number of people are out trying to find them. My concern would be the range on a drone is nothing compared to the range on a Model Y. You can get 20, 30 minutes and then have to call off the chase. But
we get like 10 drones. One picks up or the other one. Like,
I think it'd be easier to just follow it.
That too.
I think it'd be easier just to wait 2 weeks. It'll be like, a Cybertruck, following a Cybertruck around. Like, it was cool the first time, and now it's like you see them everywhere. But yeah, I know you guys. I mean, I guess we're in the content game. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but
yes.
Well, it's not even for that. I just think it's our first sighting. It's the Robotaxi and all that, but it's our first sighting of this new FSD version we haven't seen. So it'd just be interesting to see how it handles certain maneuvers. It's just, and what type of complexity, or where they're geofencing it, or if they're avoiding certain things. Like, there's a lot of interesting things to look for.
You guys see this one? This Paul Tunney said this. Yesterday's Tesla Robotaxi, they saw that a license plate was 6EU958, and they was spotted on April 3rd, testing the Gigafactory 2026. Must have been
we can ask him. He's in the chat.
Is he? Okay. Yeah. And then he goes, spotted testing at the Gigafactory around 20 other cars. And so here's the 20 other cars. So these are all being tested. And so we might see these cars out there. And then Yoda said, Tesla Yoda, right, said that you should put that into this website. Yeah. What is this website? Tesla Yoda's website?
Tesla.rodeo, I think is what it's called.
Tesla.rodeo. Yeah.
And it's, who knows? It might be one of those sites that only lives for a week before the numbers get so crazy that it doesn't make sense anymore. But, who knows?
So Yashu and Nick, you guys follow this stock really well. You guys are you do both long-term investors and short-term traders. What are you expecting in the next weeks to the stock? Wait, you're on mute.
Go first.
Yashu.
Okay, fine. I'll go first. Well, I still think analysts will come out the wazoo in the next little bit. I know you guys disagree, but I just think it's the strategic move. So I think the upgrades will help. I mean, last week we were pretty close to breaking out, like to a point where I thought all-time highs might be in play in the short term, but we promptly got rejected right off that pivot level that we were currently sitting at last week when Elon and Trump began their little cat fight together. So, I think the next level really is the 360 level. I said it this morning in my video as well. The 360 level is the one to watch to see if we get slapped off of. Tesla is, also susceptible to macro. There's that China-US trade deal currently. As much as we don't want to maybe talk about macro, it does play into what happens here in the next little bit. Seems like the market is optimistic on something, although it is confused on the details of this deal, if there even is one. I don't even know really what to say about analysts, because on one side, I definitely think upgrades are coming, but on the other end, like, very few analysts actually make a material difference into the stock. Like, I would say Morgan Stanley Adam Jonas is a big one. Like, when he comes out with a large change in his stock price, Wall Street notices, I would say, less so with his research papers, but more so with his big price target jumps. He was infamously the one that had the big upgrade right before the Hertz deal, or after the Hertz deal, and we went to all-time highs. He had one recently last year too. So, I think the potential is there. And then, of course, production deliveries coming up in the next in the next month here. So, yeah, a lot going on. I think the potential is there. I still think.
Yeah, I'll just build on what Yashu is saying. Like, if you look at the stock right now, if you zoom out past like the days, it's actually looking pretty constructive. It does look like, we're making higher lows, so that's good. Again, like if you just look at everything from, no matter, like if you're a technical person, if you're looking at like MACDs, if you're looking at fib extensions or anything like that, we are actually set up to really break all-time highs. Like that's where it's looking at. And if you look at like volume profiles, Pete DiCarlo, he talks a lot about volume profiles. If we, to Yoshi's point, we get through like 360, 370, like in those ranges, it should slice like butter to get up to, near all-time highs, if you believe in all that. And I think Tesla, with everything that's compounding right now, and as we get through the summer, I could definitely see that happening. The story is becoming less and less about fundamentals, and I think we've seen that over the course of time. And it's more and more, are they going to be the ones who deliver this disruptive technology? And I think the moment that will really kind of send us to the moon, as people say, will be when you see more FSD vehicles out there than what Waymo has. Because at that point, where is the competition? If Tesla can move so fast to catch the perceived number one, how does that company catch up? How does anyone else catch up?
What I would say to that, Nick, is, you're absolutely right, and I'm sure we've all said this, but if Tesla wants to enter a new market, how many cars do you need? 5,000? All right, you've got them. They're there. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to order them from Austria, ship them to Arizona, get them on different trucks 3 months later and ship them out. They're just there. And if it's not too far from, if we're talking Dallas or Houston, just send them. Don't even think about it. Just send them. They'll be there in the morning. No trucks, no drivers, no hassle. So it's the scale of the solution is insane. Waymo has to cut everyone in. They have to cut in Uber. They have to cut in Jaguar or Kia or Zeekr. They have to cut in Magna to upfit them. That's a lot of fingers in the pie. And if there's one thing I don't like, it's pie fingers.
I've never, ever said Nick is absolutely right. Never said that.
I've never said pie fingers.
No. So you guys, the sentiment has changed very quickly, right? Imagine where we were.
Are you saying I'm absolutely right?
I said I've never said Nick is absolutely right.
He doesn't even want to say it. He can't even get himself to say it.
Yeah.
Because if you rewind it, you could hear Brian saying, "We've all said it. Nick is absolutely right."
Nick is right. Nick is right.
No, that's true.
All right. Okay, so the sentiment has changed just immediately within like seconds, right? Literally, last week was the negative. Everybody thought it was over for Tesla. Now, Elon posted this today. I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far. President Trump replied saying, "I'm open to reconciling with Elon after seeing his latest post. Elon knows I love him. JD knows this too. I give the best and biggest reconciliations. Everyone knows this." And he also said, "I guess I could. This is before, but we have to straighten out the country. I have no hard feelings." I was really surprised that happened. I think he feels very bad about the things he said. So you've got kind of these guys making up. Sounds like it was a really good makeup. And then you got this, right? President Trump posted this morning. "Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets, necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to. Chinese students using our colleges and universities, we're getting to a total of 55% tariffs. China's getting 10%. Relationship is excellent." So Nick, you're our go-to guy. You've got the economy. This is the economy, right? The macro looks like that if the China-U.S. spat is resolved, then you got Elon Musk and Trump making up. Then you've got Tesla launching Robotaxi. And then now we're just waiting for moves in the interest rates. But things are looking like within just a few days, they've changed.
Yeah, I won't lie. Today's numbers on inflation, it was like, it felt, we talk about like simulations, like, man, things don't ever just go right. And it's like everything is just going right. Like, if this whole Elon Trump thing didn't happen, like I'm convinced that we would have broken past 360. But for some reason, like just seeing where we were and where we are now, and in that time span, Elon Trump have made up constructively. That whole thing could have actually been better for Tesla and Elon because it's distanced him from that party. So maybe there'll be less attacks on Tesla or something. I don't know. Maybe on the margins. That could have helped. But now it looks like we got a Mexico deal going. Looks like China might be all set and done. It just, things feel more constructive now. And then you have this news about where we are right now with robotaxis. There's not a lot of bad news out there at the moment. I mean, obviously we got LA burning down, but in the big scheme of things, there's not a lot of bad news out there when it comes to the market. The next thing is just the Fed, and I still don't think they're going to cut, even though I think they probably should. But the bond market is saying that they're fine to hold where they are.
Nick, can you tell us what the inflation news is?
Yeah. CPI came out today at 0.1 versus expected 0.2. So that is, CPI is just like
that's a whole 0.1 better.
Yeah, it's
right?
a big deal.
Better.
Well,
better.
If you have 0.2 a month, that's 2.4 annualized. If you have 0.1 a month, that's 1.2 annualized. Yeah. So that's a big deal. And the Fed's target since what, like 2010, 2013, they decided that 2% is the magic number. So anything above 2%, they deem as bad. Anything below 2% is good. Or actually, below 2% is not good, actually.
Right. 2 is the target. So it's not bad numbers. It could have been very bad in their direction, and it wasn't. It's
great numbers. Yeah. It's great numbers, and I don't want to say anything debunks anything, but what we've seen so many times, just like when people try to predict like Tesla's price target or any company's price targets or how the earnings are going to go, everyone's always wrong, right? Like all these geniuses on Wall Street, they're always wrong. Everybody's wrong. We're always wrong. And one of the things that people have prognosticated on is that these tariffs and all that is going to create inflation. And instead, we're seeing the best numbers we've had on inflation. And the narrative has been, well, it just hasn't come in the numbers yet. And month after month, it keeps being the same excuse. And now it's looking like we might have just enough deflation to make anything with the tariffs be not only inconsequential, but to be additive towards the story of lowering inflation. So that takes a big risk off the table. Now, I think the risk is to start turning towards, is the Fed going to be too late? Yashu.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's tariffs will cause inflation in other countries like Canada. But anyways, I think one aspect of this that we have to consider is the weak labor market because of this, right? Jobs numbers, those will deteriorate. But at the end of the day, inflation coming out, CPI coming out cool, great. That's awesome. And the market liked it. Like you said, everything's good right now. But here's what I'll say. I mean, we're one tweet away, and we know this from what happened last week. And I hate saying this because it's such a nothing burger statement, right? It's like you're on the fence when you say something like this. You're not declarative for pro or con. You're just trying to sit on the fence. But folks, we are one tweet away from anything. Like we saw it last week. Trump, 2 weeks ago, Elon, Trump, you would have thought they would have been, having sleepovers every day. And then a week later, they can't be in the same room together. So that's not to say that's going to repeat, but if history has shown us anything in the last 6 months, it's that don't rest on your laurels here a little bit. Like anything is still possible with this macro environment that we currently live in. And yes, to the positive side, yes, let's say the US-China deal does go through. Let's say Trump and Elon relation does go well, which, by the way, I think that Trump tweet about talking about Elon and him making up, I think that's actually fake. Someone photoshopped it on X. But either way, it's still better than it was a few days ago.
What?
Yeah, that Truth Social one saying that Elon and I have made up or whatever, that one that you showed.
I did not show anything that was made up, dude.
No, so that second one, that Truth Social one. Yes, this one. Apparently, this one is not real. I was looking into that. Someone in the comments, verified.
Oh, this is. You're saying this is not real?
I was looking at it this morning and someone was sharing it and I was reading all the comments. Everyone's like, this is fake. I went on Truth Social. I could not find it. So I don't think that one is real. I mean, if it was, that'd be great. Someone in the comments let us know though.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, like everyone's falling for it. It's totally not your fault.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I thought for sure. Sorry, everyone.
Well, because if that was true, that would be massive, right? Like, holy cow, everything's kind of pretty much turned around. But yeah, I mean, we're one tweet away from anything, which is the stupidest statement. I hate saying it, but it's true. But at the same time, it's the most exciting times that we've lived in, I think. Like, I look around and I go, the world is shifting. Yes, we got the soap opera going on in the administration, fine. But we got robotaxis out. We got the new cutting edge AI models around us. Every single day, there's a new update coming out. The market is the most fun market that we've been in. It's the most fun stock market, I think, that we've been in history. So all in all, I have to sign out here. So all in all, I just want to say it's super exciting. Everything that's going on, good or bad or ugly. And I love talking to you guys about it.
Okay. We appreciate you. And it is exciting. And normally I would call it terrifying, but I happen to be on the right side of it.
So, thank you for joining us there. So earlier, Nick, you said that you think that the potential moment that the stock will realize that it's going to start going up is when Tesla Robotaxi hits about the same numbers or surpasses what Waymo does. Is that what you're saying, or what was your actual thinking?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. What does that mean if Tesla surpasses Waymo? Like, on the surface level, the obvious statement's like, okay, well, they got more cars out there doing robotaxi than Waymo. Okay, all right. Let's really think about what we've been seeing. If Tesla has more vehicles out there ride-hailing than Waymo does, even if it's just Austin, we're already seeing Waymo displace Lyft and Uber. So if Tesla has more than Waymo, it's not just about having more vehicles than Waymo. It's about now fundamentally displacing and proving out the narrative that this is the future and that people prefer this mode of transportation. And if we see what Waymo's doing to disrupt Lyft and Uber in San Fran with very few vehicles in a very slow rollout, look, this December could be nutty. What we see, like, this is gonna sound crazy, but there could be a whole disruption of Uber and Lyft and Waymo in Austin. Like, I really think that's a high degree of possibility that could happen.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a question for you, Nick. This is, let's say everything goes perfectly. Everything from the technical side, everything goes perfectly. What would you think would be the fastest rollout that they would do to preserve safety and exercise due caution? But at every step, they're like, boy, this is looking right to me. But how fast do you think they would start scaling ridiculously?
I was actually thinking about that just the other day. I guess the other day, maybe it was last night. I was having a little old fashioned. I was thinking about this thought or this question you just posed. So it's great you just brought it up. So I think they're going to essentially while they're still in low numbers. So say double digits to maybe 3-digit numbers. I think they could potentially double every couple weeks. So let's say that right now, let's say when they launch, they have 5 to 10 vehicles. Okay. 2 weeks later, maybe that goes to 10 to 20. Another 2 weeks, maybe that goes from 20 to 40, etc. All the way up until they get to about 1,000 vehicles. Maybe they start adding. When they get to 150, maybe they're not doubling it. Maybe they're adding 50 every 2 weeks. Right, slowly scaling up there. And I think that seems pretty slow and conservative, to your point, Brian, as long as everything's going well, right? And there's no hiccups and everything's going smoothly. I think that's how it could go, but you don't know yet. When I don't think it's going to go perfectly. Not to say there's going to be an accident or anything, more so that I think they're going to find logistic errors, or oh man, there's a whole bunch piling up over here, and like, okay, we got to fix, how that routes, or oh, this person complained because it didn't drop them off here and they want to stop here and it kept going, or I don't know, other little things I'm sure Waymo has already had to deal with and they've ironed out. But if you look at how Waymo is scaling, they seem to have the logistics of everything down pretty well. So I think if they could figure it out after all this time, I think Tesla could figure it out pretty soon. And I think Tesla's been doing a lot of this already, by the way, because they have all these test vehicles out there that I think they've been working on how the logistics work so that we don't have a whole bunch of vehicles butting up in one area. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of that was the thought process I was going through last night. What do you think, Herbert?
Yeah, I like that. I like everything you said. I think Nick is absolutely correct.
What?
He said it twice now. What is going on?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Getting hot in here.
Ashok Swami agrees with you. He said Nick is absolutely correct. Slowly at first, then ... This is Ashok Swami. And then Phil Dwan said, it's just a small step today. In hindsight, it will be the inflection point. These guys are the top leaders of Tesla's AI team. It's going to be the inflection point. It will be the inflection point. Yeah.
It's crazy just going back to stock for a second. We're in this moment and you understanding. Look, right when Trump won the election and we hit all-time highs, that was based on what? Just narrative, hype, everyone excited. And then we sold off, a lot of craziness happened. Then we started becoming more constructive, started going back up. We were like at 360. And then Elon and Trump have their breakup. And we go all the way down to 275, 270, something like that. And then they start to make up. And now we're only back at 325. And so it's like, okay, so much of this is on nothing, right? And yet what's happened over that time? Over that time, we essentially have the Secretary of Transportation saying that Tesla will be the winner through a Freudian slip, but he essentially talked about having a standard law, I guess, or standard across the country when it comes to regulation for autonomy. Since then, we now have actual robotaxis out there, not in production, but we know, or not in use, but we know the dates. We know the date of the first one going live. Like, material things have happened that haven't set the stock up, but the drama and the excitement that has moved the stock. So it's kind of an upside down world we live in, where the things that actually matter haven't really seemed to move the stock.
That's very well said. Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to it. I didn't see anything material that moved it after the election, except sentiment, like you said. So I think, I don't know how overheated it was.
Well,
I saw a lot of analysts who said, well, we sold because it was at highs. But if that's true, did you buy back in last Friday? Because if you didn't, it's not about the price. It's about something else.
When it jumped because of the Trump presidency, it was because of the anticipation of a federal framework. And so when the Secretary of Transportation came out and said, we're working on a federal framework now, it didn't make the stock jump because it should have been built in already.
I would disagree with that. I think most people who were very excited to buy the stock are not in the weeds like we were. They didn't say the federal framework is really wonky. I think that's something that you and I could get excited about, but most investors just have no clue at all. I think it was just these guys are besties. This will be good for the company, and the rest was history.
So I was asking you the question of when do you think that there could be this moment when the investors will realize that this is something big and the stock will start going.
I did want to address that real quick because I didn't get a chance on that one. I agree that when it's bigger than Waymo, but the problem is if we're using gray Model Ys, it's going to have to be a lot bigger than Waymo because those things, I don't know if you've noticed, but the LiDAR is fairly noticeable. If you look real close, you can just see it there. So those stick out like a sore thumb. If the cars were gold, they would also be very visible. you could probably get 90% as many and it would look like an equal number. But if you're doing gray Model Ys, you could have 3 times as many and people might not even notice them.
Yeah.
So if it's perception, they're not as easy to perceive.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that would probably be either in an earnings report that where they list out the number, or just a post on
Yeah.
X saying we've officially launched our 1,000, right? The same way they do it. We've X amount of batteries, X amount of deliveries out of Berlin.
Yeah.
We just launched our 1,000th, Robotaxi in Austin. Like those are gonna be the cool updates, right? Like when it's like, oh, San Francisco, we just launched our 2,000th Robotaxi. Oh, Atlanta, we just launched our 1,000th. Oh, Chicago, we just did our 9,000th. Like those are gonna be the cool ones.
Yeah, so Elon himself was interviewed, and he had said that he believes that there's going to be a Chat GPT moment, and he goes, if it's going to be this year or next year. I don't remember when he said this. But when I think about it, I'm being very conservative at this point. I don't think that there will be something that's going to make the stock move. And so you've got a soft launch, and then they start showing that Tesla will start showing that there is, paid robotaxi rides. And I think that, like I said earlier, analysts will model it, but they're not going to add huge, valuation jumps just because of this, small ones. Then they're going to go, well, yeah, Waymo is already in all these cities. Tesla will do this. Then they'll keep growing, and they'll be higher than Waymo, but they'll say, show me when it actually materially impacts their earnings. And so investors will be very, very stubborn. They're not going to jump into the stock until the second half of next year. So while so many of Tesla investors are going, oh my God, I can see the stock jumping today, I'm not so sure. Now, I think you said, but you're saying, Nick, which is that the stock could get up to all-time highs. Yeah, I think I can see that happening maybe by the end of this year. But it did that already, even with or without, like we were saying already, actual milestones being hit. Yeah. So
I don't. If there's one thing I've learned about Tesla, is it doesn't really move on big fundamental foundational things. Yeah, it doesn't move on.
Wait,
Austin finally opened. Berlin finally opened. It doesn't move on. The new Model Y's out. It doesn't move on any of these things. It moves randomly, right? Like, oh, Hertz is going to buy vehicles. Oh, let's run. Oh, the election's over. Oh, let's run. All right. It's like these moments that are just so inconsequential to the actual business. And I think Wall Street gets too hung up on that. And so it's more like it's just like, how's it flowing? Like, what's the rhythm? What's the current which way is the current going at the moment? And right now, pretty much since December 18th, the current has been in a downward trajectory. Now, starting about 4 weeks ago, May 23rd, May 16th, we are now flowing back in upward momentum. And so it's very constructive at the moment. And if you look at the last time we had this upward flow, it was on May 17th, 2024, and it lasted all the way up until January 31st of this year. So I believe that, I don't know when, but I think we're in an upward trajectory. It's going to be noisy. It probably will be, but at least through the end of the year, I think we're going to be very constructive on the upward side. And again, I do think we can hit all-time highs to maybe like $600 a share. I think that's kind of our range.
Yeah, so Elon was talking about a Chat GPT moment, which I don't think necessarily refers to the stock, but this sudden realization by the consumers, by the general public, that this thing is possible. In the Chat GPT moment, is AI is actually here, and they're smarter than humans. In this case, it's like, oh, cars can self-drive now. But is that going to happen June 22nd when Tesla says I can do paid robotaxi rides? I don't think so, because Waymo's already done that. Is it going to happen June 28th when the first Tesla car comes out of the factory and drives all the way to the customer's house? I still don't think so. Will it happen when finally Tesla says at some point in the end of this year, when they say, hey, we've got unsupervised FSD now, and you, Herbert, living in Seattle, you can go to sleep and it'll drive you to your destination. We'll take care of the liabilities. Just it's not part of Robotaxi. It's just me owning my regular Tesla, but they will say it can do unsupervised. Is that gonna be enough? I still don't think so. What do you guys think about when could the actual public realize cars are actually driving themselves?
So I don't know that we're going to get unsupervised on our cars this year. I think that might be too big of an ask, because if there's any amount of supervision required, I think managing the scheduling for the supervisors would be too, for the remote operators would be too complicated, and it would result in outages where you go to turn on FSD and it says only supervised right now. There's not enough. Anyway, your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line. But I don't know that would absolutely, if everybody's car, if there are millions of them rolling around everywhere all the time, that would be, forget the stock. That just changes society, but also the stock.
As far as the ChatGPT moment, I do think it's going to take a while to have, I guess it just depends what you mean by that. If you mean like where all of a sudden there's this like really big excitement about this, I do think that could come this year to early next year. But what's it going to take? It's not going to happen by people buying Teslas and then buying FSD. The reason ChatGPT was able to happen is because the barrier to entry was you had to have internet and a computer.
Yeah.
And the cost was free. Anyone could test it out. That was the barrier to entry. So if you have to buy a Tesla and then subscribe to FSD, those are very, very high barriers. That's $30,000 to $60,000 barrier to entry. With Robotaxi, a ChatGPT moment could happen in Austin. Not around the world, but in Austin. Because the barrier to entry would be so low. You don't have to own the Tesla. All you have to do is pay per mile, and it's cheaper than Uber. It could happen in San Fran. It could then happen in Atlanta. It could happen in Miami, right? And I think it'll be ChatGPT moments pocketed. But I think the real universal ChatGPT moment comes when there are cities where people, hey, I was just in Austin and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Why the hell don't we have this here yet? This is insane. Why am I paying so much? Like, get it here. We saw the same thing happen with Uber, where people were like, citizens were complaining to their leadership saying, hey, get us Uber here. Like, this is insane. What are we doing? I think that will be the real ChatGPT moment. But you'll have pockets of this ChatGPT moment in different cities as it launches.
I love that. The idea that, oh my gosh, I'm going back to my home. I have to deal with human drivers again.
Yeah.
I have to drive myself again. Okay. Well, yeah, that will be a big moment. I'm going to pop out a little early as a reminder. I do have an after show where I address questions and comments and whatnot, but I've got to use the restroom. So there you go. I will be seeing you all there momentarily. Wish me luck.
Best of luck. Hang tight.
No. Okay. Nick, you're absolutely right. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. No. So that made me realize exactly what you're saying. Okay. So that's how ChatGPT moment can happen. It's butts and seats. So when Tesla launches Robotaxi in Austin and a regular consumer, I've already been saying this the last several weeks, right? Right now, the Tesla fans are those who have bought a car. And those are the ones who become believers because they experience the car. And then every once in a while, you will ask a friend to, you take a passenger and they'll go, my God, this is a different experience. This car is definitely different than others out there. It's better. But it's limited to people who are willing to buy a car. And then every once in a while, somebody will showcase FSD to a friend and they'll blow them away. Once Robotaxi launches in Austin and people gets in there, and they hail the car, and they're just a regular consumer paying, $2 to $5, $10 to get a ride. They're going to go, this car is amazing. This car is driving on its own. And then to realize they can actually buy this car, not like the Waymo guys where they're going, clearly this is a science experiment that costs $200,000, $130,000, $50,000, and they're not selling it to consumers. But then this guy says, what? I can buy this car and it's driving itself? That's when, every single day, every single ride, is going to blow people's minds. They're going to share that. They're going to talk to friends about it. They're going to use it. So only when it expands in Austin, and then once it expands city by city. So it depends on the rollout. If this rolls out quickly, I don't think it's going to happen this year. It could happen by the second half of next year. I'm still back on that. That's when the moment will happen. That's when the world realizes it's here.
I think the world will realize it ahead of time before that. I think, especially look, if Tesla launches in Austin, San Fran, and one other city that's not one of those, which I think will probably be like Arizona, somewhere in Arizona, or maybe New Mexico. I don't know. But I think that'll show like, okay, it took Waymo how long to go from cities
12 years.
Tesla, and Tesla just went to 3 different cities this quickly.
In months.
And in months. And, if they end the year, or let's say they start, so Q4 ends in December, let's say during the Q1 earnings call 2026, you have them sitting there saying, we anticipate going into these cities this year, and it's like 30 different cities. Like you don't need to wait for it to happen. All you need to know is what the roadmap is and what cities and how they plan on, how many vehicles they plan on adding in the current cities. And, you just, Wall Street will get ahead of this eventually.
They'll get ahead of it once they see a massive jump. Like Tesla goes, okay, we have 1,000 cars here. We're going to do 5,000 now. And then we're going to, what? 5,000. And because they've got they're not limited by the cars. They're limited by how fast they. The other thing you said a long time ago was that I was asking the question, when will Tesla cars get a bump in sales, because it's this ability to drive itself becomes a demand driver for the sales of new Tesla cars. And I think you said it, which is like only when you yourself can put your car into a Robotaxi network and make money out of it. But for that, it's all theoretical. But as soon as they allow Tesla owners to put their cars into their network and start making money, at that point, that's when, for sure, Tesla cars would just go off the shelves at this point and skyrocket. People will buy that hand over fist because they're going to make money. It's not an expense anymore. Do you think people get ahead of that too?
Yeah, I don't disagree that will have a amplified effect on sales, but I actually think vehicles will start to. I think we'll start to have a demand problem or a supply problem whenever we have unsupervised FSD. Like, I think that's a big difference. Like, it's one thing to say, like, yeah, you have FSD, like, yeah, you guys still pay attention. But once you, like, oh, you don't have to pay attention. And to your point, like, I've been in Austin, I've experienced this, and you're telling me I can go buy one for myself.
Okay,
like,
gotcha. So you're saying, so you're saying that, okay, even if they don't yet allow you to put it into the network and you making money, but if they did allow unsupervised FSD, no matter where you live in the US, let's say, or maybe they might only do it for the states that they cover the insurance, by the way.
Probably.
But let's say they have in some states unsupervised, but Brian was saying he doesn't expect that to happen this year, despite Elon saying it could happen this year. But when that happens, you think, because that's what Elon said, right? Elon said that the real value jump for the consumer is when they can be eating food, they can be sleeping, they can be doing their makeup in the car. That's when you really have the real value, not just what we have now, which is it's driving for you. It's obviously very valuable to us, but you still need to be careful and watch it. But as soon as they say, hey, you don't have to do that anymore, that's where people go, my God, I can sleep or I can work while this takes me to work, LA traffic and all that. And Tesla will take over the liabilities if anything happened. And you yourself trust it,
And not just that, like, again, even if you can't put it into a network, but I can buy this and I can have it send my son to soccer practice and have it come back home. And then I could have it go pick him back up. Like things like that, you can have it personally. It's like your own personal chauffeur, something that, used to be an elite privilege and a very expensive privilege is now essentially democratized to anybody can have their own private chauffeur. And I know a lot of people who won't use FSD just because they still have to pay attention. Like, oh, what else am I going to do? Like, he yells at me every 2 seconds. But the second I can do this, game over. Like, this thing will sell more FSD and Teslas than anything.
Yep. Yeah, I can still continue to tweet.
Yeah,
or post. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're very, very close. Nick is absolutely right. Okay. That's it. Last time I'll say that ever again. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Stay on, and you'll get directed to Brian White. Thanks. See you, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.